Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Hello everyone, and thanks once again for joining us for Saturday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy. Satellite imagery showing clouds rolling into the southeast coast here, mostly pulling back to the northwest across Gulf of Alaska, coming up, spreading into the North Gulf Coast and inland a ways there. A few clouds getting in the Copper River Basin, and also spreading up into what looks like to be about the north end of the Snider Valley, and then thickening clouds as you head south, and then you get into some rain from southern Kenai Peninsula and southern Cook Inlet here, eastward and southward across mostly the Aleutian Range, the upslope areas, Kodiak Island, and a little bit of a break here, and then another couple of bands, this one the stronger of the two here, spreading up with the moisture into the Alaska Peninsula. Also some pretty gusty winds there as high as 35 miles an hour in gusts. And we've got clouds here across the southwest interior, mostly clear skies up to the north from the northern Snider Valley on in across the Tanana Valley all the way up to the north slope. Meanwhile, out in the Bering Sea, lots of clouds, easterly flow coming around the south or the north side of low pressure there south of the Aleutians. Front lifting north of the Aleutians here, kind of just back from Shimia northward and then down across the Fox Islands. That's where most of the precipitation is and most of the wind in advance of that front. So conditions diminished here across the Aleutians with just some scattered showers, especially around Adak and Atka. And rolling that again, you can see the mostly clear skies all the way up to the north slope there. And some areas of low clouds and fog, pretty patchy, nothing that significant up along the Arctic coast, but winds are quite light across the entire area here through the Chukchi Sea down into the northern Bering, and then pick up considerably with some gale force winds here over the southern Bering Sea in advance of that front. Otherwise here, clouds, as I mentioned, coming into the southeast coast, but the rain-producing clouds, bulk of that staying well to the south, associated with that low south-southwest of the Queen Charlotte Islands. Otherwise, some rain and showers along that trough up to the northwest, more of a occasional rain falling along the east side of Kodiak Island with scattered areas of precipitation, mostly on the upslope areas of the mountainous terrain here. Extreme southern Alaska range, mostly Kachemak Bay, Aleutian Range, and a little more showery conditions through the Alaska Peninsula, and tighter gradient through here, so winds are gusty but not all that strong. Good for some small craft advisories, and then they diminish back to the west here, and then pick up a little bit again ahead of this frontal boundary right through here, but the main gradient is between this high up over the Russian Far East and the front, so that's where the strongest winds are over the southern Bering Sea, and of course, front pushing northward, less wind, less precipitation, maybe some clearing occurring over the Aleutians there, but shimmy out too there right on the edge of the tighter gradient on the backside of that 982 millibar low farther to the south. And we'll see for tonight, that kind of spreads in over the area there a little bit there, but so look for an increase in the winds, especially over the western Aleutians. Otherwise, staying rather light here from Kiska Island eastward to Unalaska Island, with the front and most of the moisture pushing up the Alaska Peninsula now. Just kind of a narrow band of the heavier stuff, otherwise just occasional periods of light rain, patchy fog extending up toward the Pribilof Islands as well. The old boundary moving to a position something like this, which really isn't too much farther north than it was this afternoon. Maybe some moisture sneaking up the west side or the east side of the western Alaska Range as conditions begin to deteriorate there a little bit, especially later on tonight. Otherwise, partly to mostly cloudy. South central Alaska, of course, more clouds the farther south you are. That condition back along the North Gulf Coast. Fair over the interior, and winds on the light side all the way up to the Arctic coast again. Possible areas of low clouds and fog on the east side there. A little more offshore flow, keeping it better on the west end, right into the Chukchi Sea. variable cloudiness all the way down to St. Lawrence Island. Winds starting to pick up a little bit there, gradient tightening up somewhat here over the northern Bering and eventually into the Chukchi Sea, which should bring some brisk wind advisories back to the area there starting tomorrow. Otherwise, southeast coast here, moisture just to the south, mostly over the Queen Charlottes here, kind of gradually moving northwestward and approaching the area, but definitely nothing even getting much into Dixon Entrance through tonight. And out to the west there, we'll see this for tomorrow. Front just about stationary, more or less in position there with that low just south of the central Aleutian. So areas of rain and fog, mostly in the form of showers, excuse me, south of the front, with eastern Aleutians looking pretty dry there. Maybe some clearing, kind of a dry slot behind the system, but likely more showers off to the southwest. And then periods of light rain for the Alaska Peninsula. Looks like less in the way of wind. Nothing too strong here with this system. And then the old boundary kind of stuck here. Higher pressure up to the north, keeping it in that position. So link it up with the moisture a little bit there, but none of this very heavy at all. And possible mixed precipitation here, especially in the morning hours across the southern Kuskokwim Valley. Some of that lifting north into the Yukon Delta, but quite light and questionable as to how far north that will get. Not much difference here. Probably see a little bit more moisture coming up the east side of the western Alaska range there, so that's going to knock the flying conditions in the passes. Should go marginal with the lowest conditions on the eastern approaches, but the Kuskokwim Valley staying VFR through tomorrow, as well as Prince William Sound VFR. A few more clouds probably for northern Cook Inlet. Definitely the Kenai Peninsula looking cloudy with a little bit better chance of some moisture here, especially to the southern areas. And basically dry here over the eastern interior, or will be dry over the central and eastern interior, right on down to the Copper River Basin, even the North Gulf Coast. That's just maybe a slight chance of a shower. Otherwise, pretty fair conditions. And then the trough down here, that may nudge some moisture tomorrow afternoon. Chance of showers possibly into the southern southeast coast. Again, just a chance at this point. And then for Monday, a little bit better chance of some scattered shower activity across all of the Panhandle, with a weak system pulling eastward here into British Columbia. Not much in the way of winds, but partly mostly cloudy, risk of some showers. Same thing near the North Gulf Coast, maybe a little bit better chance from Yakutat, especially over toward Cordova, and it looks kind of wet from western Prince William Sound down the south side of the Kenai Peninsula, and again to Kodiak Island. This next weak front pushing eastward there, bringing a better chance of rain. Periods of with fog, lower flying conditions, right up across the southwest interior. Best chance of rain in this area, breaking out to showers to the Alaska Peninsula areas, and again possible moisture up the west side of the Susitna Valley, probably staying dry to the east. Definitely dry in the Copper River Basin. Tanana Valley, variably cloudy, partly to mostly less clouds up over the Tanana Valley and back out to the west here. More gradients, so stronger northeast winds, again coming up to the brisk wind advisory levels, possibly gusts 30 to 35 miles, Kivalina on up to Point Hope, maybe Cape Lisburne. Then dropping back again down to the light side, just 5 to 10 knot winds for the central coast eastward in the forecast for Monday there, with, of course, this area of precipitation staying east of Demarcation Point. Out to the west, the Aleutians, big area low pressure continuing just south of Atka, and winds not all that strong associated with it. You can see a pretty slack gradient there. So look for mostly cloudy, scattered showers again, the Alaska Peninsula, and then more wind northeast, becoming north on Monday out here. That'll be the strongest winds, but under gale force, the way it looks at this point in time. So temperatures across the southeast coast, pretty warm down Klawock up to 64 degrees. Same thing at Stewart. Otherwise, mid to upper 50s here over the central southeast coast, and back up into the mid 60s at Skagway. Yakutat 61. Mid 50s here for the North Gulf Coast with 56 at Cordova. Mid 50s Kenai Peninsula, Palmer. Upper 50s toward Talkeetna. Back down to 51. Thicker clouds there at Homer. And lower to mid 40s for Kodiak Island with the rain. 52 in the Copper River Basin, eastern Tanana Valley. Temperatures mostly in the lower to mid 50s there, cooling back to about 49 at Fairbanks, and even cooler over at Tanana with 42 degrees. Fort Yukon, 38, and Bettles about the same there with upper 30s all the way back to the west to Kotzebue. Otherwise, Kivalina at 34 degrees. And of course, the Brooks Range northward is the coldest areas with single numbers and teens across much of the area, but Point Lay did pop up to 26, while Cape Lisburne was at 19. 45 though up at Nome, and then back down to McGrath, 54 degrees there with sleep mean of 55. 52 Bethel, right at the freeze mark for Savunga, and a 45-degree reading at Amonic, while Nunivak Island, Makoriak had 37. Looking at the Pribilofs, mid to upper 30s this afternoon with mid to upper 40s, or lower to mid 40s, 46 at Atka. Otherwise, Adak on out to Shemya, right around 41 degrees. It's about the same there for Unalaska with mid 40s, lower to mid Alaska Peninsula into the upper 40s as you head up into northeast Bristol Bay. Lows for tonight, again, 0 to 10 below for the North Slope and Arctic coast. Teens, northwest interior, teens and 20s into the Tanana Valley with milder conditions here, 30s to lower 40s over the southwest interior, and all the way down into Bristol Bay, Kodiak Island, 30s southern Alaska, and lower 40s for the southern southeast coast. Highs for tomorrow coming up pretty nicely. See some upper 50s to near 60, even into the Susitna Valley here. Mid to upper 50s to near 60, also out over much of the southwest interior, the Yukon, Kuskokwim River Valley areas, right up into the Tanana Fairbanks area. And then cooling back, of course, the Brooks Range acting as a front with temperatures 45 to 50 south side and staying in the teens, maybe some lower 20s north of there out to the Arctic coast. Lower 30s, about like today for St. Lawrence Island. Mid 30s for the Pribilofs, and 50s to maybe lower 60s. Again, southern areas, depending on how much moisture actually comes across Dixon Entrance. Of course, more clouds, a few showers will keep it down under 60 degrees, but that doesn't happen, then you might get back into the lower 60s. For flying weather, VFR at least late tonight, early tomorrow across all of the Panhandle, North Gulf Coast, all of the interior, and some marginal VFR, possibly reaching the southwest coast here later tonight with the IFR on the south side of the Alaska Peninsula, and then another band right through here from St. George Island southwestward to Atka, otherwise marginal to the west. VFR, northern Bering, all of the Arctic coast. For tomorrow afternoon, again, VFR for the Arctic coast, northern Bering Sea, interior Alaska, seeing an increasing marginal VFR sliding northward there, again, mostly on the east side of the western Alaska Range coming up, probably not reaching Rainy Pass and over Cook Inlet, and then Kachemak Bay in the IFR zone there, back across the Barrens, and then IFR all the way down to about Sand Point. Blob of IFR out here near the Pribilof, staying off the southwest coast, and then marginal VFR possibly moving northwestward here into the southern Panhandle. Anaktuvik and Adigan, VFR once again, as well as Lake Clark and Merrill will become marginal VFR late tonight into tomorrow morning, and that'll be on the eastern entrance where the Lake Clark Pass could go IFR tomorrow afternoon on the east side, with VFR hanging on the Kuskokwim Valley side, with rainy marginal VFR developing possibly here on the eastern approach tomorrow afternoon. Otherwise VFR, rainy VFR, Chilkoot or Isabel and Mentasta VFR. Tanita VFR and Portage VFR as well. Chilkoot and White VFR. Freezing levels, warmer air here off the southeast coast, about 6,000 feet late tonight, early tomorrow morning, cooling back to about 2,000 feet over British Columbia, kind of a warm wedge extending northwestward with 4,000 feet here just east of Norton Sound, 2,000 feet over the northern Bering Sea. So taking a look at the icing, again, tomorrow afternoon, maybe some of this, chances increasing, coming up across Dixon Entrance to the southern southeast coast here, Prince of Wales Island, maybe over toward Ketchikan. Otherwise icing free to the north, no icing in the forecast for the interior, and then increasing moisture here nudging northward a little bit. So about like today, southern Kenai Peninsula, back down across Kodiak, the Alaska Peninsula, and off to the northwest here near the Pribilofs, and then back down, could see some icing over the western Aleutians. Nothing really significant. So moving on to the jet stream, again, the Pacific jet pretty strong yet and well to the south, keeping all the big storms down in that area. Not much flow at 33,000 feet here across mainland Alaska, trough up over the Arctic. Southwesterlies at about 50 knots, affecting the central and western Arctic coast. 9,000 foot wind flow showing pretty light conditions here for the Panhandle, 5 to 15 knots, south-southeasterlies, picking up to maybe 10 to 20 over the interior, back down to 5 to 10 for the Brooks Range northward, and then a big increase here for the western Arctic coast, extreme western, Chukchi Sea 25 to 30, all the way down into the northern Bering here, and then dropping back into the central Aleutians. Strongest winds out here to the west, northeast, maybe up to 40 knots, and some southeasterlies 35 cutting across the Alaska Peninsula. 3,000 feet, same thing. A little bit lighter on the winds, though, 10 to 30 knots in a narrower band of those southeasterlies right up along the southwest coast, become northeast 35 to 40 knots. Northern Bering coming down, just catching Shimiatu, maybe Kiska Island. And for the Panhandle, pretty light winds, kind of southeasterly, up to 25, Gulf of Alaska, but light over the southern interior. Turbulence-wise, none central interior across the Panhandle. Look for some isolated moderate chop, 3,000 to 5,000 feet, St. Lawrence Island up to the Bering Strait with those increasing winds, as well as the extreme, well, really the Point Hope, Cape Lisburne areas, light to isolated moderate chop, southwest coast, Alaska Peninsula. And after the break, I'll be back with a look at the marine forecasts.
It's a complicated project, but a simple life. You can study whales all over the world, you can study harbor seals all over the world, but you cannot study them in silence all over the world. So we really need this sort of piece of wilderness, this untrammeled wilderness, as they say, in order to answer some of these questions.
So we've been monitoring underwater sound here in Glacier Bay since May of 2000. And the reason why we're doing that is to understand what the park is like from the perspective of a marine mammal, because marine mammals are very dependent on the natural sound environment.
If you sort of bring it back to humans, humans respond to noise in very stereotypical ways, and other mammals do the same thing. So, you know, if you go to a concert with your buddy and the music's really loud, you're going to talk at a higher pitch. You're going to talk louder, and you might have to repeat yourself. And marine mammals do the same thing if it gets noisy. So we're seeing, you know, just which of those three that they actually do. We're here on Strawberry Island for the entire summer.
We sample 8 to 12 hours a day. There'll be 2 people who are on our beach station doing scans, marking each whale in the area, 2 people who are doing focal follows from our tower, which is a temporary tower that we have set up here on Strawberry Island. And then we have 2 people who are in the kayak who are doing fine scale acoustic sampling for harbor seals. Got a harbor seal at 23 meters.
Got it? What's her bearing?
Bearing is 5822121.
Being able to pair what an animal is saying with where the animal is saying it is an amazing data set. It's a hard data set to get. It takes a lot of work, but it can answer so many questions.
So our cruise ship right here in the background is right on time today. We have a blissful hour and a half before the cruise ship gets here where we can watch our whales in silence. And then our ship comes in, bringing with it the noise that it brings, and we watch our whales while the ship's here to see whether or not their behavior is changing. And then it's going to go up bay and bring passengers to go see the glaciers, and we are going to get that blissful quiet again to see whether or not our whales are going back to that natural behavior.
This is the computer that runs our underwater acoustic monitoring. And there's a 5-mile cable from my office that leads out to a hydrophone that's out recording live sounds in Glacier Bay. And if I turn this up a little bit louder for the moment, that's the sound of a male harbor seal roaring because it's the mating season.
Bartlett Cove, Strawberry Island. Building a good field team and building some good camaraderie is really important. We have sort of these daily routines of things that we do together. So there's a schedule that we check every morning, who's gonna cook lunch that day, who's gonna cook dinner. And then every day we take a group photo. And then every day we do a daily check-in. We talk about what worked that day, what didn't work that day, and what we learned either from the island or from each other over the course of the day. Surface 900600.
Last night, there were anywhere from 8 to 10 individuals right along the kelp bed off the point. And we were trying to figure out exactly what they were doing. So as acousticians, Michelle and I got a hydrophone.
That seemed like the right thing to do.
Put the hydrophone in the water to see what was going on. Well, we dropped the hydrophone and it was so quiet. There was not a single roar.
Nothing. We heard
It was
nothing.
just so unusual.
One of the things we did observe yesterday was 2 large bull killer whales who had come into the area that we learned today were transient killer whales. They do come into this area to hunt harbor seals. This is a pupping ground. That's what they come in for.
Yep.
We cannot in any way, shape, or form definitively link the presence of mammal-eating killer whales with the silence of harbor seals.
No, but it is quite interesting that they happened at the exact same time. It's always an adventure on Strawberry Island. You never know what the day's gonna bring.
This morning at 5:15 in the morning, the area was just boiling with whales. I had one 15-minute scan this morning where I was literally hopping back and forth on either side of the theodolite, calling out numbers to try and get all the whales as quickly as possible. And then 15 minutes later, we couldn't find them. Aside from getting to be outside all the time, my favorite part of doing my PhD is getting to work with Leanna.
It goes both ways.
It helps when you put 2 minds that think differently onto the same problem.
Global ocean noise is a real problem, and there are areas of the ocean that have underwater sound from vessels so often that you could almost consider it an urban environment. Glacier Bay is a very remote area, and it was set aside as a national park in part to do scientific research. And we're privileged to be able to use it as a natural laboratory where we can better understand the impacts of underwater noise.
There are some places that act like characters in your life, and I think that a lot of Alaskans can resonate with the fact that living here is like having another family member. It's like having somebody really, really important who's sort of nudging you to be a little uncomfortable all the time and to stretch yourself all the time because it's worth it. I've lived here for almost 10 years. I've made Alaska my home, and so I'm an Alaskan by choice.
Welcome back. Light winds over the inside waters of Pan now, especially from Clarence Strait, actually Clarence Strait southeast 20 with 4-foot seas, otherwise 15 knots from Stevens Passage up through Lynn Canal. We've got southeast 20 down on the south coast with 8-foot seas, the entire length of the coastline here, so that results in small craft advisories, even though the winds, especially north side here, are going to only be at 10 to 15 knots. And the outlook for Monday, light winds continue, more of a southeast direction here, but seas now under 8 feet, so no small craft advisories. Southerly winds on the light side there for the southern coast, and southeast 15 for Clarence Strait. Pretty light variable winds on up to the north. Prince William Sound, light north winds tomorrow. Same thing for Cook Inlet, picking up to 20 knots south of the Forelands. Small craft advisories for Kachemak Bay there with 9-foot seas. East 25 for the Barrens, back down to 15 east side of Kodiak Island, and east to northeast 15 to 20 for the North Gulf Coast. East to southeast to 20 knots in the forecast here for the North Gulf Coast, but seas staying at about 6 feet. And northeast 15, Prince William Sound, Cook Inlet still have small craft advisories going for Kachemak Bay as well as the Barren Islands. And for Bristol Bay, east 25 tomorrow. And otherwise southeast 15 to 20 across the Alaska Peninsula. And Monday's outlook, even lighter winds, 15 knots here for the Alaska Peninsula from Castle Cape to Sitkinak, just 10 knots from the southeast, east at 20 for Bristol Bay. And for the eastern Aleutians, light winds, southeast 15, maybe 20 knots, but that's going to be mostly west to Sitkinak, there on out to Adak and Atka. Nikolsky on out to Adak and Atka, turning northeast, and then we've got the small craft advisories here for the western zones, up to 30 knots out towards Shimia. And for Monday, light winds east-northeast, 15 knots, Adak and Atka, and kind of a variable condition here. Southeast for Unalaska Island, only 10 to 15, otherwise south to east, 15 to 20 there near Nikolsky, and still again at 30-knot winds, mostly confined to Shimia and Attu. And the southwest coast, tomorrow, brisk wind advisories or small craft advisories here. Seas up to 7 feet south of Nunivak Island, back down to 4 feet, a little more ice through here, and then 8-foot seas there in the zone for St. Lawrence Island with 30-knot winds extending down to near and west of St. Matthew Island. And then on Monday, for the Pribilofs, those 20-knot winds come down a little bit, back down to 15 knots, seas only 4 feet. East 20 knots, Kuskokwim Bay, north of Nunivak Island 15, but kind of a big increase here, getting some gradient. Northeast 30 continues St. Lawrence Island down into and west of St. Matthew Island. Up along the Arctic coast, well, the brisk wind advisory is actually from Wales here northward, turning northeast to about Cape Beaufort, and then down to 15 knots. Light northeast for the central coast, light easterlies, 5 to 10 knots on the east side. And those continue light, swing the direction around a little bit, becoming more north and even northwest at about 10 over toward Demarcation Point. Otherwise, northerly winds for the central coast at 10 knots, northeast 15, and brisk wind advisories continue here from Cape Beaufort all the way down to the Bering Strait. And looking at tonight again, no change over the interior, no change for the Arctic coast. Look for a gradual increase in wind here, northern Bering Sea through the Bering Strait and even the Chukchi Sea. Weak boundary here could kick off a few showers, areas of light rain in about the areas today, but that's going to diminish over Kodiak Island as the next weakening system slides into the Alaska Peninsula, or kind of holds stationary, very slowly exiting the eastern Aleutians, and very cloudy over the southeast coast. And again, tomorrow afternoon with this system, a chance of some showers showing up, maybe. Otherwise pretty dry, sunshine in the interior, patchy fog, maybe a flurry in the Arctic coast. That's about it. Breezier here for the northern Bering Sea and the Chukchi, and rain for the Pribilofs on down to the south. And Monday, that front pushes northeast.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.